Hi everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to do more graphing in slope-intercept form. For those of you who are ready to move on, we're also going to add some extra problems here at the end. So let's go ahead and look at our first equation. Our first equation is y is equal to 2 over 5x minus 5. Thinking back to yesterday, what are those two things that you need to remember in order to graph a line? Awesome job. We need our slope, which is represented with an m, and we need our y-intercept, which we represent with a b. So looking at our equation, which number is in the slope position? Good job, 2 over 5. And which number is in the y-intercept or b position? Awesome, a -5. So remember, b is always where you begin, and m is how you move. Good. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start by putting a dot on -5 on our y-axis. I understand these are a little fuzzy, so sometimes it's helpful to count down till you get to that number. So -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. If we look at our slope, it's 2 over 5, meaning that we're going to go up 2, and we always run to the right. So we start at that dot, we go up 2 lines, and we're going to run to the right how many? Good, 5 lines. And I put my dot. Now remember, we say that we're going to go all the way across the entire length of the graph. So again, we're going to go up 2 lines and write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now you ask yourself, what is the opposite of up and to the right? Good, down 2 and left 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, down 2, left 5. Now that I have my dots all written out, I go ahead and connect them with a straight edge. Let's see how I do. Not too bad. Let's look at our next one. Why don't you hit pause, try to graph it on your own first, and then come back and look at the work that I do. So hit pause now. Welcome back. Did you guys follow the same steps I followed? Key features to look for is it looks like it hits somewhere around the -3 on the x-axis. Does yours hit somewhere around there? It's not going to be exact, but somewhere between the -2 and -3. If so, I would say you graphed your line pretty darn close to perfect. Awesome job on that. So let's look at numbers 3 and 4 instead. If you notice with both of these, it's either y equals or x equals. These are the most commonly confused problems. However, if you look at it pretty straightforward, it actually is not too bad. We're telling you that y is the same as 7, which means that we're looking at the y-axis only. So if I find 7 on the y-axis, again, the lines are fuzzy, so just count up to your 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I put a dot on it. And because it's only going to be going through the 7, that's the only place it's going to hit, this is going to be our horizontal line, also known as our zero slope. So the y equals equations are our zero slope lines. Using that same idea, now number 4 is an x equals equation. So now it's the x-axis only. Same idea, except for looking at the x-axis instead of the y-axis. We're going to find the 2 on the x-axis and put a dot. And because it's only going to be that 2, we're going to draw a vertical line. So we draw a line all the way down through it. And so this line right here is our, you guessed it, it is our undefined slope instead. All right, let's go ahead and look at our second page. Number 5 is another tricky one. And what makes this one so hard is we don't have a y-intercept. So sometimes we lose sight and we're not quite sure where to start. we are going to go ahead and identify that our slope is equal to, good, 1/6. Now, what's that imaginary number being added or subtracted to the end? Good job. It's a 0. So where do I begin? I begin at 0. So I put a dot in the center of my graph, and now from here, I move the way it tells me. It's a +1, so up 1 and then right 6. And if you look and if I try to figure out where my next dot is, it's actually off the graph. So I'm going to right away jump to the opposite of up 1 and right 6, and that's down 1 and left 6. So this is going to be a little tricky one to draw here, but it should be something like that. So all the equations that we've worked with, it's either a y equals something or it's going to be an x equals. If you look at number 6, what makes this one different is we have something next to the y that we have to move over. So before I can do any graphing, I have to get y by itself. Because it says +5, the only way to move that over is to do the inverse operation. So what's the opposite of adding 5? Good, we're going to subtract 5. And we're subtracting 5 over here. We're not really combining any terms here. All we're doing is rewriting it. So I have my y is equal to, scroll up so we can see that a little bit better, 2/5x. We're not changing that. We're simply writing -5 next to it. Now that we have that written down, we can go ahead and graph it. M is equal to, right, 2/5. B is equal to, you're on fire, -5. Let's go ahead and graph it. So we're going to put a dot on -5 because that's where I'm beginning. And how do I move? Up to, right 5. Up to, right 5. What's the opposite of up and to the right? Good job. Down and to the left. Down and to the left. Go ahead and connect our dots, and voila, we have our line graphed. We will go ahead and do one more with you just to make sure you understand this. We're going to skip number 8 for this moment, but we are going to look at number 7. So looking at number 7, it says +2. How do I undo adding 2? Great, we're going to -2 to both sides. So I end up with y is equal to -2x and our -2. So when I write down my slope, this is an important step that you don't want to forget. What is my m equal to? Right, it's a -2, but those whole numbers are extra special, so what do we always put underneath it? Right, we put it up on a pedestal by putting a 1 underneath it. And what is my b? Great, it's a -2. Now the graphing is the same. I'm going to begin where? At -2. How do I move? Well, now I remember that I go down 2, right 1. And again, down 2, right 1. Down 2, right 1. It's like a little dance. And what's the opposite of down 2, right 1? You guessed it. Up 2, left 1. Up 2, left 1. And we're having fun now. Up 2, left 1. Up 2, left 1. And now that we have all of our dots, we can go ahead and connect our line into our graph. Awesome job today. If you have any questions, feel free to ask your teacher. Otherwise, I feel like you are ready to go ahead and begin your classwork. Thanks. Talk to you soon. Bye.